All right, good morning. We're here today to announce criminal charges in the Thad McCotter 11th Congressional District mess, the 11th Congressional District fiasco. Now, my job is to enforce the law. That's what I do. And I have a duty, the obligation to protect the integrity of the election process. And here, the process of obtaining signatures, filing petitions, seeking the opportunity to serve, remember that, seeking the opportunity to serve, to participate in the democratic process was perverted. What happened here was not simply Keystone cops running amok, and that did happen, but criminal acts were committed as well. 4 former staff members of former Congressman Thad McCotter were engaged in a blatant attempt to commit forgery and election fraud. They copied petitions, submitted petitions falsely signed by circulators, and did cut and paste jobs that would make an elementary art teacher cringe. These 4 staff members faced charges ranging from forgery and conspiracy to falsely signing election documents. Some of these charges carry penalties, some carry misdemeanors. Now, it appears that the McCotter crew, it does appear that the McCotter crew may have attempted this in the past, using 2006 signatures to phony and dummy up 2008 petition filings. Now, you know, most things in life are not great. There are some things that are wrong, some matters that are right. And here in this case, crimes were committed, specifically various forms of election fraud. And during the course of our investigation, we found various ways that people dummied up, phonied, forged these election petitions and committed election fraud. We have false circulator certifications, and this means, and this involves, that individuals signing petitions didn't personally sign the petition signatures. You've all seen them, about 15 names on a page. They also, number 2, submitted duplicate petitions to pad the signature process. So they take petitions and then Xerox them, copying them a couple of times to add to your numbers. That's wrong. And then they did a cut and paste job that gives Elmer Glue a bad name. And what they do is they would, signatures collected in the past, for example, these are from 2006. So they took signatures from 2006, did a cut and paste job, put them on petitions they want to submit for 2012, and that's a phony dummy up, padding the process way. So they did cut and paste numbers as well. So you see on here, petition 15, cut and paste job, Xeroxed it, did petition number 78. It's a phony dummy approach, and it's wrong. Now, as a result of this evidence, the following charges have been filed today. So, Don Yao Chung, 17 charges. Don Yao Chung was the Deputy District Director. 10 counts of election law forgery. It's a 5-year felony. 1 count of conspiracy, a 5-year felony. 6 counts of falsely signing a petition, misdemeanors, 93-day misdemeanor. That's for Mr. Yao Chung. Number 2, Paul Seawald, who's the District Director, 10 charges. 1 count of conspiracy, which I mentioned is a 5-year felony, and 9 counts falsely signing a nominating petition, a 93-day misdemeanor. Number 3, another felony charge. Mary Melissa Turnbull, who was a district representative, 2 charges, 1 count of conspiracy, a 5-year felony, and 1 count of falsely signing a nominating petition, a 93-day misdemeanor. Lorraine O'Brady, finally, a former scheduler, 5 charges, 5 counts of falsely signing a nominating petition. Now, we've conducted a thorough and comprehensive investigation. Our team has reviewed hundreds of documents and interviewed 75 witnesses. I want to thank Tom Cameron, Rick Cunningham, and John Buck for doing such an outstanding job. And let me tell you this, and be really clear about this. We find any other evidence, if we're presented with any other information, we'll review it in the same painstaking, clear, specific, thorough fashion that we've done in everything in the course of this investigation. And if so, well, it won't hesitate to pull the trigger and file new charges if we're presented with new evidence, new information, or new documents, as the case might be. Now, my office investigates cases thoroughly, without fear or favor, and I don't care if you're a Democrat, Republican, or a man in the moon. If you break the law, there are consequences. Let me just give you some final words about this case. And there are countless messages of this entire saga. And one message from me, let me just share this. One message from me is, when criminal acts occur, we will not look, and I will not look the other way. There's another message, too. In any position of public trust, the elected official has a duty to be engaged and involved and mind the store. Here, former Congressman McCotter was asleep at the switch, did not mind the store, and appears to have provided no guidance, no supervision whatsoever to his staff members. And as a result, the McCotter crew acted as if they were above the law, that the law did not apply to them. They are sadly mistaken. Now, election fraud will not be tolerated, and this brazen attitude of indifference by public servants is disgraceful. No place for that here in the state of Michigan. So, this is a case of Thad McCotter being asleep at the switch. The congressman has resigned in disgrace. The district got stiffed. People got stiffed. And you know, public service is not a game. This is not frat boys go to Washington. It's not a garage band in D.C. You know, public service is about serving people. And in the end, Congressman McCotter is responsible for the conduct and the misconduct of those in his employ. Now, the buck stops at the top, but in this case, Thad was asleep at the switch. Anybody have any questions?
Why did you charge Thad McCotter with anything?
We did not have any specific direct evidence of his involvement. If we ever do, as I mentioned earlier, if we receive any new information, new evidence, if any of these charges that we filed today cause new evidence to occur, we won't hesitate for a moment to file charges. We file charges in this office based on evidence, specifics. That's what we do. Yes, in the back.
How far back did you go in terms of the petitions being filed?
The question was, how far back did we go on the petitions being filed? The law today does not, you can ask to have the petitions returned or they can be destroyed. So we have, as I've said, we have some evidence that there are some dummied up petitions from 06 used in 08. Ma'am.
Talk about just the motivation. I mean, laziness, what?
You know, the motivation, frankly, is it's immaterial. The fact here is that former Congressman McCotter was asleep at the switch, set a standard of conduct that's not is disgraceful. And I served in Congress. I know how to navigate the halls of Congress. I run a big law firm, 275 attorneys there. I'm not perfect, but I'm engaged, I'm involved, and when you abandon responsibility and you asleep at the switch, problems occur, and as a result, criminal charges were filed. Ma'am.
Pat, you want to go?
Yeah, I was just going to say,
Pat.
the fact that you have repeatedly said McCotter was asleep at the
Yeah.
switch, ultimately, doesn't the buck stop with him?
It does stop with him, Pat, and he has resigned in disgrace. And again, if we find any measure of evidence, new evidence, new presentation, new evidence presented to us, we won't hesitate for a moment to bring charges. Please.
Sounds as though you suspect there could be more out there. Are you asking people in this venue right here to bring forward more information?
No, I'm not making any public requests. I'm just letting you know how I feel about this whole mess, how the citizens of the 11th District were stiffed, how there was a lack of responsibility done by someone who holds the public trust, and that's wrong. And we act on evidence, and we file charges when we have that. Kathy.
Bill, do you have any evidence that anyone outside of the campaign or his campaign or his office staff was involved in this?
No, and if you look at this, Kathy's question, if there's others been involved in this or other campaigns, I think that was your word, the answer is no. And if you go back, for example, this was done in 2006, well before the fiasco in the 11th District occurred in 2012. So this it would appear as if there's, and again, this will all come out on trial, and there'll be, full release of information, transcripts, what have you. This goes back to 2006 when people were dumbing up, phoning up this petition, these which caused criminal charges.
So no expectation from the candidate that petitions submitted on their behalf are legitimate? No legal expectation on candidates?
Well, if you look at, and again, I think what will happen is that the legislature may look at, other proposals to adjust, review, reform election law and the signature process, maybe extending the statute of limitations from 2 years to a longer period of time. Secretary Johnson, let me say, has done a really good job. Her office was thorough. It was a part-time. The evidence will show this. It was a part-time employee that noticed that these records, again, the art teacher cringe comment, they weren't even. They weren't lined up. It was ridiculous.
But just to be clear, currently there's no legal obligation on the part of the candidate that signatures submitted on their behalf.
That is correct. That's correct. One more. Yes, sir.
So, if the congressman wasn't involved in this actively, who do you suspect came up with this idea? Can you give us some discussion of what the roles were between these four people? Was there a ringleader?
All this will come out on the trial, but it shows very clearly these four folks were part of this McCotter crew that had engaged in a process of committing election fraud, forging documents, and breaking the law. That won't be tolerated. Sir.
Reports that Mr. Yabchang has left the country. Are you aware of that? Do you know the whereabouts of these four individuals?
We do. He's in the state of Michigan, as far as we understand.
Have they cooperated at all?
We've had a very thorough investigation. These investigations were done under oath. We had attorneys present. That's how it worked.
Did these people cooperate? Sorry.
We had a very full and thorough investigation, and it'll show evidence will come out how thorough it was and how people were cooperative.
Have they been formally charged?
Yes, they have.
When?
This morning.
In what court?
3 in Livonia, 1 in Troy. Yes, sir.
You referenced them as 4 former staff members. They're all now separated from the office?
Well, they were former staff members of former Congressman McCotter. Some may have been for a period of time and still may be employees of the United States House of Representatives in that office that is representing the people of the 11th District. One may have a different job. I think Rusty and Joy can help you on that before we're done. I'll be happy to do any one-on-ones with everybody. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Thanks. All right.